Welcome all. We continue with our CCNA adventure looking at WAN concepts. For us, a WAN is going to be a wide area network, which necessarily means that you're connecting places that are physically distanced from each other. And there's a separate set of protocols and services that make up connecting places over a long distance. And I'll try to distinguish the services, which are also protocols that you would purchase from a service provider, from the protocols that a service provider might use to make those services work. So for us, we're going to look at this from a consumer point of view. You need to connect either to the internet, which is a WAN in and of itself, or you need to connect to a remote site and you're purchasing a service from a service provider. So if we take a quick overview, start out here with some protocols. All of these protocols, SDH in Europe and Sonnet here, they attempt to share bandwidth on a connection, in this case, on a piece of fiber. And the way they do that is they allot a time slot in the signal to each separate connection. So Sonnet and SDH are generally on the service provider side, and you don't necessarily purchase these as a service, but this is how the service gets completed on the service provider side over long distances. Dense wavelength division multiplexing is another form of multiplexing, or a way of sharing a piece of fiber with multiple signals. But in this case, rather than sharing a time slot, you're sharing a wavelength of light. So because light doesn't interfere with itself, you can have different signals on different wavelengths. And in fact, each of those wavelengths can be carrying multiple different signals from different places if you're also using Sonnet and SDH. So you could use Sonnet SDH with DWDM to maximize the number of, I guess, traffic lanes, you can call them, that you would put across a piece of fiber. DWDM is one of the main reasons why fiber is able to carry so much data. We call those layer 1 protocols, and they kind of act like virtual wires. Layer 2 protocols, these are things that you might see as more from the service provider side now. The point-to-point protocol is something that technically your home router might use, but you're not going to be sold any of these as service. So frame relay, and also, yeah, asynchronous transfer mode is also a legacy. These were early ways to packetize a network rather than having to have people have dedicated connections. We've moved on, and now the current services use these protocols. So you could purchase a broadband connection, you could purchase a wireless connection. Cellular is the most common, but this would also include satellite. Well, you wouldn't call satellite, you would specify satellite separate from wireless, but it's a wireless technology that connects you to the satellite. And Ethernet WAN, which is much how it sounds, it creates a very Ethernet-like connection between two sites or multiple sites, almost like you're connected to a giant switch. And the multi-protocol label switching is a service that you purchase if you're a large enterprise and you needed some guarantee about the quality and the reliability of a connection across the service provider network. So there's mechanisms in MPLS for ensuring those things, which makes it good. And then also it works across all of these legacy technologies. So as those legacy technologies become or disappear, MPLS becomes less useful, since you could use things like Ethernet WAN that have features that people want and can also provide higher bandwidth. Okay, so when you're doing the discussion for this, the idea is to look at it from a consumer point of view. How do I get an internet connection, and then how much would it cost? And then how do I get a connection for an enterprise? Say I wanted to connect to remote sites together. A good place to start was the fixed broadband deployment map. And if we just look for it this way. And we can enter address in here. I'm not sure what we're gonna put in here. 95129. And it'll tell us the service providers that are offered there. And AT&T and Comcast are the biggest. So if we wanted to, we could put Comcast broadband into a search engine. And something like this will come up. So we can see that for a home connection, we get prices mostly less than $100 per month. If you want Gigabit Pro, which I'm assuming, it's two-way. So if you wanted, something where you were actually serving content and you needed a pipe that big, then it costs a little bit extra. And presumably you would be hosting a website or something with a connection like that. So it would be a business, and having that extra reliability that you pay for would probably be important to you. And also the upload speed from a server perspective would be someone else's download speed. So you get all the bandwidth bidirectionally, whereas from a home perspective, you're probably downloading and viewing more video content than you're uploading. All right. So we talked about a WAN being a wide area network. We talked about sharing fiber using SONET, SDN, DWDM, and the different types of infrastructure determine the different types of services available, which is why a Comcast has different offerings than, say, an AT&T. And that's it. So look those things up and put in your choice for the discussion group, and then reply to somebody else's and you know, if it looks, if you agree with them or not with their decision. And good luck.